What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I want to break down what's happening to the overall market this far, what you should be watching for as time progresses, and how things are looking in my personal opinion as I break down some earnings and also some economic data. But before I break into all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them, and the offer ends in just 6 days. Anyways, for the market, we're seeing a lot of ranges on Tesla, SPY, the QQQ, and all these different tickers. I'll break down what these ranges are and why they're going to determine which way the market moves. I'm going to make it very simple to understand. And once we see which way the market breaks, we will see which way we end up moving in which direction. So let me first talk about some data before I break down the charts. Today is Wednesday, April 24th, and there's not really a whole lot of data coming out for today. Just notes that at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, an hour after the market opens, we have the New York Fed Treasury purchases from the 7 to 10 years. And then we also have at 11:30 a.m. the 17-week and 2-year FRN auctions coming out. Then at 1 p.m., we have the 5-year note auction. So look for some volatility at 11:30 a.m. But once again, all the data is quite minor. Now, I do have this warning. We have some important earnings coming out later on for today and also some that just came out. We just had Boeing and AT&T announce their earnings. And after the market closes, we have Meta, IBM, and Ford. Meta is going to be the most important one, causing a big move in the QQQ and also for the NASDAQ and other tickers out there. So for Boeing's earnings, which just came out, basically their earnings were not very good, but they were nowhere near as bad as expected. That's part of why the share price is up, which is kind of funny, if anything. So they had better than feared quarter, and they're saying that the supply chain is stabilizing amidst the 737 MAX crisis. That's why the share price is up at like almost 4%. So let me kind of elaborate on this. So they burned $3.9 billion in the first quarter. That's bad. However, analysts were saying that they were expecting about $4.5 billion, so they didn't burn as much. All right. If you look at this right over here, we also have their loss per share. They lost $1.13 per share, pretty bad, but they were expected to lose $1.76 per share. So not as bad as expected. Revenue was 16.57 billion, not as bad as expected. It's actually down about 8% relative to before, so not very good. And they also lost another $355 million in the first quarter. That's actually down from what we saw previously, so not as bad as before. And they're going to be talking a lot more about their questions and such at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right now, we'll see how that affects them, but let me just say, so far for earnings, they're not as bad as expected, basically. Not as bad as expected. AT&T's earnings and guidance were pretty good. That's why the share price is up just a little bit. Revenue is at 30 billion, a little bit below the expectations of 30.5 billion. Net income was 3.8 billion. That is once again very close to expectations, but it decreased a little bit compared to last year. EPS was at 47 cents. That is a little bit below expectations of 55 cents. And free cash flow is up to about $3.1 billion. That is once again a little bit of an increase. So that being said, earnings were kind of close to expectations, but what helped the share price is this right here. Their guidance is showing an EPS in the range of $2.50 and $2.25. That is once again aligned with expectations and still pretty good for them. As far as Tesla goes, Tesla's earnings were not very good. They missed on EPS and revenue, but they were, we saw Elon Musk and the team try to distract investors by talking about AI, the robotics, and this and that. They also officially unveiled their Model 3 performance with the 0 to 60 miles per hour time in about 2.9 seconds. So with all that happening, Tesla's still up, but we'll see what happens. There's also been a lot of news coming out about the layoffs in California and Texas. So here's how I see this. It's very simple, okay? We're going to start off with Tesla and we'll talk about the others. Tesla's in a range right now, okay? This whole time it's been in this range, and we'll have to see which way this breaks if we end up getting a direction. I'm seeing signs that's contracting a little bit on the 4-hour, but once again, the levels are still the same. So Tesla's going to be trying to hold 160 and then 158 as key support. 158 is going to be our very key support. That's where our 200 EMA is on the hourly and the 50 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. If we lose 158, we're going to be dipping all the way down to the mid 150s. If not, 152 is going to be coming back. So Tesla's going to dip pretty hard to 155 to 152 if we lose 158. But if we manage to break out, if we break past 165, I think Tesla could push all the way up closer to 170. That's where we have this previous support becoming resistance. So very close to 170 is coming if we break past 165. As of right now, we're in a range. Okay, if we break past 165, we push much higher. If we lose 158, we're going to be sinking all the way down to the mid 150s. That's going to determine which way we go. As of right now, we're trading kind of sideways, but just know that I'm seeing a little bit of signs that Tesla's contracting a bit. So just be careful. There's a risk of it falling a bit, but we'll wait and see just to be safe. Nvidia has the same thing of a double top leg structure. To turn bullish, you want to see it break past 846, the 200 EMA. If we break that, we're going to easily push very close to about the 855 area. If we lose support, we have the support right over here at this. Basically, it's very close to 830. If we lose 830, because I think this 20 EMA is going to kind of push higher. If we lose 830, we could be sinking all the way down to 820. So it's going to be a big dip on Nvidia. It's showing some weakness. It looks like a double top is forming. So I do see a very good chance it's going to test at least 830 and dip. So just be careful with Nvidia. For SPY, we have a bearish divergence and we failed to break past 507. If we break the 507s, we could be pushing for 509 as the next level. If we reject off 507, we're going to be looking at 505, very close to this 505 range, 504.75 to 505 just to be exact. If we lose that support in the 504.75 area, we're dipping all the way down to the 502s, and if that fails us, look for 500. I want to be very, very straightforward with everyone. We're in this very important range. Whatever happens is going to be key, at least for SPY and the overall market. So watch this range. Do we lose 504.75 and dip lower, or do we end up getting a big bounce and start breaking out towards 507 plus? We're in a range right now, so just be careful. But I'm seeing some signals that suggest we could actually dip a bit. So I'll be watching just to be safe. So watch that for confirmation. The QQQ has resistance around the 428. If we break this, we're going to easily push for 430 and 432. If we reject, we're going to be looking for a move all the way down to about 425.5. If we lose 425.5, our 20 EMA, we're going to be dipping all the way down to 422. So do we lose 425.5 and turn bearish, or do we break out above the high we have right here, above 429, and start pushing into the 433 area? It all depends on this. We have a bearish divergence forming and contraction, so just be a little bit careful. And finally, for Aapl, it's the same thing. If Aapl continues to fall right here, we're going to be easily look at 166. If we fail to bounce off that, it's going to continue to sink down to 165. If we do bounce, we're going to be looking at 167.5 and a nice move to the upside. Otherwise, we're kind of stuck right now. On top of all of this, I just wanted to mention that we have a few more like Amazon. Amazon's trying to push a little bit higher. Going to be looking at resistance around 181. If we break through that, we're easily pushing for 182.5. If we fail and we end up rejecting and we end up losing 179, we could be dipping all the way back down towards 177. We are at some tight resistance, so just be careful on Amazon. We'll have to see how things go. Meta is looking pretty decent, but we're at resistance at this 510 area. If it rejects here, we're going to be retracing to 500. If we break through it, we're going to be pushing for 515. So do we break past 510 and go to 515, or do we reject and come down to 505? That we'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, thank you all so much for listening. We'll see what the market does. I'm seeing some signs the market might get a rejection, but just to be safe, let's watch for confirmation. Watch the levels. Be patient like a very, very disciplined trader, and do what you have to do, guys. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Make sure you watch your levels. Be very, very mindful of what I just warned you about, and we'll see how things go. Thanks again, and peace out.